It's easier to navigate the world for ourselves than it is to trust Christ. On one level. It is easier for us to do that. And human beings, like water, we always find our lowest point. We tend to want what's easiest. We're those places in our lives where we can go and we can just find our way without too much trouble. And as we mentioned a little bit earlier, the message that we have, the message that we believe is very offensive to the wider world. And it's all-encompassing. In fact, the scriptures say that we're to take obedient every thought captive to Christ. You know that when you're in that relationship with Him, that's what He wants you to do. Not just take thoughts captive to Him while we're in church, not just take thoughts captive to Him while we're in religious settings or in Bible studies, but to take every thought captive to Him so that when we're at work and we're behind the desk or whatever we're doing and we're dealing with ethical dilemmas in our particular situation, we need to bring to our mind, what does God say about this? Constantly, every day, in every interaction, every thought. It changes who we are from the inside out, from our whole way of doing things, our whole way of living. It's all encompassing. It is a total commitment. And part of this is there's an accountability. And sometimes we don't want accountability. Jesus said these words in Luke chapter 9, verse 23, said this, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me." That certainly doesn't sound like the easy way, does it? This is the picture that we get. One of the most dangerous things that we could ever fall into is something called apostasy. He says, take care, brothers, lest there be in any of you an evil, unbelieving heart, leading you to fall away from the living God. The word there for fall away is actually translated, fall away, it's translating the Greek word for apostasy. Apostasy means to turn away from God. It's a reference to someone who may be part of the community of faith, just like these children of Israel prior to going into the promised land. When they turned away from God, they committed apostasy. And it's the same thing. Sometimes you have people who are churchgoers who come to a point where God says, trust me in this. And it may be difficult. It may be a disease that you're going through. It might be an emotional trial that you're going through. It might be a temptation that you're going through. And God says, trust me in this. And finally they come to a place and they say, I will not trust Him in this. I will not trust God. And then they turn and they apostatize. They fall away from the living God. You see, those of us who have entered into a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, we know the power within. What attracts us isn't the beauty of the sanctuary. What attracts us isn't the beauty of the organ, though it's beautiful and the sanctuary is beautiful and all these things. But that isn't what attracts us. It's to gaze upon the glory of Jesus Christ and all of His splendor and all of His majesty, and to realize that there's nothing in heaven or on earth or under the earth or anywhere else in all the universe that compares with Him and His wonder and His splendor and His power. If you've experienced it within, it doesn't matter if you're in some backwoods cabin listening to a message with 5 other people. When you experience the power of the Holy Spirit within you, this is the most wonderful thing you could ever know or conceive or ever be a part of. That's what God calls us to, that kind of life in Him. And so when we find ourselves on the edge of the promised land, He says, don't turn back, for I'm with you, and I'm on the other side.